Hey everyone, it's Sebastian, part of the locally world-famous chiropractors in Costa Mesa, California. I'm going to talk about sciatica today, and this is part of our sciatica series that you need to go back onto our YouTube channel, which will be the little link, the circle. I think it's red. Go on there, subscribe to the channel, and then look for the sciatica series playlist. We're covering a lot of the questions that people have asked us, emailed us, and people search on Google. We've done a very extensive search on Google to figure out what questions people want to know about, and we made a series about it. All right? So the questions we're going to cover today is, will sciatica go away on its own? And is sciatica a serious condition? At any point in time, you can go through and address that. You can go through the timestamps that I've provided in the video that cover each question and rewind and go listen to it again. So I tried to make this thing very user-friendly for you guys. Now, the first one we're going to cover is, again, I apologize, I got to keep looking at the list because there's a lot of questions to cover. Will sciatica go away by itself? It can, yes. Now, sciatica, as I mentioned in some of the other videos, by the way, if you're wondering all the details of what sciatica is and what causes it, different causes and so on, we did a very large scale, I think 25-minute video on this. Just go onto our channel and search sciatica causes, and I think you might find that. Now, yes, sciatica can go away on its own. I've met a lot of people who had it go away on its own, and they reduced it by doing things that I wouldn't necessarily suggest as someone directing them, but it tended to work. And this is what you're going to run into on a lot of forums that people have, and they might say, well, I stretched and it helped me, and I did cat-cow and this one helped me, or I did more planks and this helped me, and side planks and whatever. Yes, people are going to have those experiences, and there's a lot of people where sciatica can go away on its own. Other people it won't, and that's when people end up contacting people like us, all right? And we got to develop something structured. Now, when sciatica doesn't go away on its own, what's typically happening is people are just poking the bear. They're kind of irritating things typically. The body's pretty resilient. It can heal itself. But let's just say if this is your sciatic nerve and it has problems and it's intolerant to stretch, which is normally what happens with sciatica. If you try to stretch it, it will continually just piss this thing off over and over again. So the more I keep my knee locked and the more I try to reach my toes, such as a forward fold or a hamstring stretch, the more and more this thing will tend to get irritated. It will relieve problems for a small period of time. I've met people also who say that they stretch their sciatic nerve daily, and it's so painful when they start, but after they do it for 10 minutes, all of a sudden they feel better for a couple hours, but then it comes back the next day. It's like 50 first dates. It just keeps repeating itself. Well, usually what I give people is a framework or the criteria where we talk about the things that they should be doing will make them feel generally better now and later. It's like the candy, now and later. So if stretching makes you feel better now and later, then it might not be a bad thing for you. However, in the scenario where it's so painful to do, it doesn't make them feel better now. Later, it kind of does for 2 hours, but then it doesn't. So the now and later type of scenario is the easiest route to take, all right? If it makes you feel better now when you're doing it, and then later you noticeably feel better, like you can do things you couldn't do before, then this might be a good intervention for you. It's all about finding the right intervention for your problem, not for my problem, all right? So the second question was, is sciatica a serious condition? I covered this on a different video. It can be a serious condition, especially when there's some red flags. Red flag questionnaires in regards to low back pain or sciatica can be found on Google. If you search just low back pain or sciatica red flags, a lot of times in people's intake forms, like when you go to the doctor, there's like all these check boxes where they're asking all these odd questions, like, do you have any numbness between your legs? Can you not use your feet anymore? Are you tripping on rugs? Are you having trouble texting and using small objects? Are you dropping coins? There's red flags that can indicate that there's more seriousness to the problem than just simply sciatica. That's going to take your healthcare professionals, it's going to take their attention and their knowledge to figure out if there's any seriousness to your problem or not. We don't know. And just because you have leg pain or sciatica doesn't mean it's just one single cause. Even something like those WebMD type of line items like tumors, cancers, infections, yeah, those could all be things. They are on the list, the big list of the differential diagnosis, not the most common ones, but the probable list or the possible list, because it does happen to people, sadly. Okay. Now on the realm of, is sciatica actually serious if it's not one of those weird things? Well, rapid neurological degrade or functionality of a limb is kind of a big problem. And so your nerve, your sciatic nerve, as well as its contributions, the nerves that make up the sciatic nerve, actually innervate muscles and they help out with movements of the leg. And so if you starve the muscle of stimulus from the nerve, it will start to shrink up. So they call that atrophy. They call it muscular atrophy. Now, muscular atrophy is different than disuse, all right? I've met people before where they say, well, my legs are just not as strong anymore. Well, how come? Well, I used to lift 5 days a week. Now I don't lift at all. Do you think that could be atrophy? Well, it just sounds like you're not using your legs anymore. It's like you were a bodybuilder and you got really, really big and strong, and all of a sudden you stopped providing the stimulus for the muscles to actually grow. That's one thing. But atrophy is like I'm doing my normal everyday stuff and all of a sudden this area starts to shrink. It's common to see in the calf with people with sciatica. And a lot of times when people have sciatica here, we test out calf strength, functionality, as well as look at general appearance. If there's really differences side to side, you can measure both sides and see if there's a dramatic difference between each side. Some people can have a difference on each side and it's not even painful, and they didn't even know it, but it's something that has happened because of past sciatica events that they've had. They weren't resolved quick enough. So yeah, I'd say sciatica can be a problem, but most of the time, at least with people that we see, it's just painful. It's painful, it's circumstantial, it's based upon activity, they don't feel it all the time. And as long as they can't feel it all the time, it's not a higher risk of becoming anything super serious, at least from a degrade standpoint. Sciatica is not a death sentence, all right? It's not a doomsday thing where you're automatically going to have a loss of function of the leg forever. There are steps that you need to take to improve your situation and then get back into normal everyday function and activity that you want, all right? There's easy ways to reduce pain. A lot of times people with sciatica just don't move. They just lay in their bed and don't move. That's pain-free. That's pain management. Functionality, though, getting back into sport or activity or daily life that you want to do takes a little bit of corrective exercises and challenges. And that's where people like us step in, all right? We'd love to help you out if you would like our help. We're in Costa Mesa, California. We work virtually or in person. We've had a lot of successful low back, sciatica, buttocks pain, hamstring, calf cases that have responded really, really well in person and virtual, okay? We can do movement testing. There's certain tests we can't do virtually, but a lot of things if we feel uncomfortable with it, we'll just tell you and send you somewhere to get an evaluation if we can't actually work with you virtually, okay? They don't substitute for each other, but we can get a long ways doing virtual if we need to. So subscribe to the playlist by going on the channel, hitting subscribe on the channel, and watch all the videos. Remember, we have that free gift for you if you guys want to learn a little bit more. See you guys next time.